Sup peeps, my name's Ian. I sell books on eBay. Today we have 14 or 15 orders going out, a few bundles and a few singles, one or two kind of interesting worth a wee bit more money. So let's just rattle through them and see what we have got. Does that sound like a plan? Good. Right, let's find the first one to back. Right, there we go, got it going now. That took a while, didn't it? Right, first up is a non-book, and it's the only non-book of the day going out. So it's another bit of clothing that I'm just getting shot of. So a sleeveless hooded Adidas top, 40 years anniversary of the trefoil, something like that, size 8, woman's top, and this is going to, I think it's going to California. Not a big sale. I initially had this listed for like 40 quid, and it's just sat for months and months and months, and I get fed up with it, so I brought the price down and ended up selling it for a massive 8 quid plus postage. So I think I paid like £2 for it way ago. Taking up space, taking up listings, so it is now gone. It's worn down, and it weighs, a massive 400 grams, and it'll be WS13 because this will be going through eBay's international thingamajigamy bob. There you go, that was our one non-book sale of the day, done and dusted. Next up we have a single book, Margaret Atwood. So what's the lassies with the things over her head? They wrote all of them. She wrote all of them, I should say. Old Babes in the Wood. I think this is quite a new release actually. Might even be 2023. Is it? Yeah, 2023. It's not a first edition. Well, it is a first edition, but it's not a first print. And that sold for £6 plus the postage. So we'll wrap Margaret up. Now, what's the name of that? That's going to annoy me until I can remember. It's The Handmaid's Tale. Why could I not remember that? The Handmaid's Tale. Margaret Atwood wrote The Handmaid's Tale, and I think there's one sequel, which are always very popular. Always looking for a wee first edition signed one of those, because they're worth a couple of grand. But ain't seen one yet. But you never know. These are the types of things. You know, if it's something that's really popular TV programme that's been adapted from a book, if you see it, pick it up. If it's first edition, signed, anything like that, then there's a good chance that it might actually be worth a few quid. So, always worth finding. The best example I've had of that of late was Northern Lights, Philip Pullman. So it was a first edition, first print, and sold for 130, something like that. And that's obviously, it's been a popular book for a lot of years, but the TV adaptation, I've got no doubt, helped with increasing the value in these things. Margaret weighs 600 grams and she's going to BN8. Enjoy your book, BN8. Right, next we have another single book. It's 2 days in a row. We've sold a hardcover Danny Steele, the Duchess this time. 2 different buyers, I believe. And that sold for £4 plus postage. So that's a nice little sale. I know it's only 4 quid, but it cost me 25p. £7.65 in total. I'll let you do the arithmetic. Not maths, arithmetic. Maths is a different beast, isn't it? And people saying they're not good at maths because they can't add something up. That's arithmetic. Oh. Sorry, my mother was a maths teacher, so these things hammer into your head. Right, where is Danielle heading off to? Everybody is desperate to know that. And the answer is at least 17. Leicestershire, I'm guessing. So she's heading down the Midlands and she's going to weigh 700 grams. Ellie 17. Right. Next up, we've got a doubler, Leslie Pierce, another very popular author. Sell a lot of Leslie Pierce. I get as many as I can find. It's not a series, but she wrote a lot of books, and well, the titles are just like a woman's first name, for example, Belle. Probably a Diana in there somewhere. I find that if I can get a big bundle of them, they'll sell as a big bundle. I don't list them as here are 5 Leslie Pierce books with women's names. I just include them in my variations listing. But typically, if you can find them, they will sell as a big stack and all go out together. So that's another one to keep in mind. They're not big money, but they're kind of guaranteed reasonably quick sales. So what was it? £8.96 for the books plus postage. So a couple of quid each for the books, and then the postage on top of that, and that's 750 grams. And Ms. Leslie Pierce is going to, can I see it? FK1, so Falkirk. Between Edinburgh and Glasgow. Right, we've got a Terry Pratchett going next. So it's a newer edition, but it's really good nick. The Colour of Magic, and that was £3 plus postage, so £6.65 altogether. Nice little sale. Right, snip, snip, snip. So I put up a video the other day, probably a couple of days ago now, on creating a variation listing, and a few questions off the back of that on postage costs. So I thought I would mention that today, whilst I'm hiding just off screen. So, postage costs. What does it cost to post a single book? Well, if it's a really skinny book, and once it's all wrapped and packaged up, and it's less than 2.5 centimetres thick in total, excuse me, then you can send that large letter up to, I think it's 750 grams, and that costs you about £2.70. I think it's £2.70 at the moment. Depends how you buy your postage. I always buy it through eBay, so you get it slightly cheaper, not quite 10% cheaper, but there or thereabouts. Put Terry in the pile. Where's Terry going? Terry going to SN11. So yeah, if you've got that skinny book, I don't have any of those today to show you, but that's what I've got. Whereas if you've got 3 Peter Robinson books that weigh round about 900 grams, then you've got a couple of options. So Royal Mail, that's going to be a small parcel. If you send it just second class, so not tracked or anything, then £2.99. If you send it Royal Mail 48-hour tracked, £3.29, which is typically what I use. If you don't want to use Royal Mail, then you can, for under £1 kilo, you can send it using Yodel, or Every, and that'll cost you between £2.80 and £2.94, I think it is, for Every at the moment. So you can make like an extra 10% or save 10% on your postage if you use one of the non-Royal Mail carriers where it's under a kilo. Let's get these packed in. I don't like using them. They usually take longer to get there. So instead of kind of guaranteed 48 hours, you're usually looking at 3 to 4 days. Depending what the pickup time is in your local area, then you could drop them off at noon and they might not get collected to be delivered the following day, so that obviously sticks an extra day onto it as well. So I typically don't use MK43, Peter Robinson's going to. I typically don't use Every or Yodel for anything up to 2 kilograms. Put that in the pile. Right, so that's anything up to a kilo. You can send Royal Mail for £2.99 or £3.29. I do like my coffee. Or you can send it Yodel or Every for about £2.80 or about £2.94, and that'll get there in 3 to 4 days. If it's more than a kilo, which this one won't be, Leo Kessler, £8 plus postage. It is vintage, it's in fantastic condition. So this one is going to M16. So again, that's a nice wee sale. Yeah, if it's over a kilo, so up to 2 kilos, 1 to 2 kilos, any other ways I can say that, 1,000 grams to 2,000 grams, then the only option I would use there is Royal Mail. It's more expensive to send 1 to 2 kilos by Every or Yodel than it is Royal Mail, so I've never used them for it. But Royal Mail, it's the same price as up to a kilo. So £2.99 or £3.29 to send something 1 to 2 kilos by Royal Mail. Packed up. And that's again, I'll use the £3.29 option, and it's 48-hour tracked service that you get. If you just use normal second class, then you tend to get a lot of messages with people asking where their parcel is, and I'm convinced that I've had a couple of things, that's what I just used to do it that way, try and save every penny you can, where people had received it but there's no tracking to show that it's been delivered, so they're just at it. They know that. A few people with high feedback usually as well, they know exactly how to play the game, they know how to get something for free. They tell EB they've never received it, and there's nothing you can do to say otherwise, so you lose. You have to refund them. They will issue a refund and you will never get your package back, and it's a bit of a scunner, and that's why I'm convinced a couple of people have done that, because I've never had the package back. Some cases something will come back from Royal Mail or the other companies because they haven't been able to deliver it for whatever reason, but there's been a few times they haven't, and it's never for cheap items. Anyway, we've got an R.L. Stine compendium, the babysitter, the boyfriend and the girlfriend. This sold for £7 plus £3.65 postage, so that's a nice wee sale. Something's in good nick, it looks nice, and it's an author you recognise. Pick it up. I didn't pick that up thinking, oh, that's going to sell for £7. I picked that up thinking, oh, I've sold a few R.L. Stines for a couple of pounds. It turns out that one was worth just a little bit more, and I've not had it very long either, so it's a good one to find. So yeah, up to 2 kilos, back to the postage chat, up to 2 kilos, £3.29 by Royal Mail. There's a size limit on that package. If you're talking about books, you are very unlikely to exceed that size limit. But if you were, for example, selling a big old board game, the box size might be bigger than what you think it should be. You know, it might, one of the dimensions might be greater than what Royal Mail allows SA10 or Ulstein's going to. So you might want to use a different service other than Royal Mail, because once you go over 2 kilograms with Royal Mail, it gets a lot more expensive. In fact, it gets twice the price. It will go from £3.29 up to £6.59. So if you're just a few grams over 2 kilos, then it's going to cost you twice as much to send it. This won't be that, because we've got 3 Dick Francis books, to the hilt, twice shy, £10 penalty, all kind of vintage pan paperbacks. Picked up a big bundle of these in one go, sold 3 or 4 lots, and more than made my money back on them, and I've still got another 7 or 8 to go, and I've now got my eyes open. If I see any more of these, I will grab them. So vintage Dick Francis, there's another one to be on the lookout for. Yeah, so once you're over 2 kilos, so 2 to 5 kilograms, then you've got a few more options for posting stuff. I say Royal Mail, £6.59, and that's your 48-hour tracked service. However, for about the same price, you could send it next day DPD. So that's an option I will quite often use. The DPD drop off is right next to my son's school. This is going to YO1, Dick Francis. So it's dead easy. Drop him off at school, drop the parcels in at DPD. Job done without having to go out of my way. If that's not a convenient option on the day, then typically I will use Every or Yodel, because you can save nearly £1 on your postage costs there. Now, whatever people pay for postage, that's what they pay for, so that's why for the most part I charge £3.65 flat rate postage, and that will get your Royal Mail 48-hour tracked for up to that 2 kilogram package. If it's more than that, I charge £3.65 postage, but it's going to cost me £5, £6 plus to get it sent. So I will use the best, cheapest option available for getting those ones moved out. Just so that I'm not losing money where possible on the deal. But even having said that, we saw Jill going out next, there's not a huge difference. You know, if certain areas of the country you can't use Every or Yodel to deliver, so you have to use Royal Mail. Northern Ireland, anywhere offshore really, Highlands and Islands, Scotland, you know, there's a few places, this one's still got a sticker on it, that you just can't use them, so therefore we have to use Royal Mail. It'll cost a wee bit more, but it's still within scope. But instead of making £4 for selling 6 books, you'll maybe only make 3. However, if you're VAT registered, obviously you can claim the VAT aspect of that £6 postage back anyway, so that gets you another £1 or so at that end. So it's not a complete kick in the teeth, but it's just something to be aware of. If you are selling bigger bundles, make sure that you've taken into account what will happen if somebody buys more than 2 kilos worth of books. You don't want to suddenly, you know, be expecting to make £1 on a sale, which isn't a lot of money, I know, but if you're selling low value items such as these, then that's quite possible. But if you're only making that much on a sale and you have to spend an extra £3 in postage, that's going to hurt. And you know, a lot of resellers are small part-time sellers, they make some pocket money paying for a holiday, whatever it might be, then you're not going to be VAT registered, so you're not going to be able to claim the VAT back on that. So that full £6 is going to be coming out of your costs, will be getting added to your costs I should say, rather than if you were VAT reggy, then really it's only about £4.50, which is quite a difference. Anyway, these Lisa Jewell books are 1,100 grams and they're going to be L7. Anything bigger than 5 kilos, then again it's actually very similar to 2 to 5 kilos. You can send it pretty much any way you like, so do that. Anyway, enough about postage. This is the sale of the day, the June Encyclopedia. Acceptable condition, definitely a few creases in the top. These have sold for anything up to 120 quid, which is crazy. I think it's crazy, but obviously it's an out of print book, people like it. More recently they've been selling for £60 or £70, and I decided I just wanted this one shifted. You know, cash flow. I paid 25-30p for that book, so I don't need to get £100 back off of it. So I just dropped the price down to 45 just to get it moved, and I got a couple of offers in very quickly for £30. Because they came in so quick, I just turned them down. Normally, you know, a £30 offer for something that I paid maybe 30p for, I'll quite happily take. But because those offers came in so fast, I just declined them. I thought, no, I've already reduced it. You're getting 15-20 quid below nearly every other book that's available. So then one of those came back and offered me 40. I just thought, the hell with it. Took that offer, and it is now heading out to DT9. So 40 quid in for a 25-30 pence book that I just bought in a big lot, as I always do. So that was a good sale. Definitely one to keep your eye out for. If you see it, the June Encyclopedia. In fact, any June books, Frank Herbert, just pick them up, because you never know. Some of them are rarer editions that are quite collectible, and even the ones that aren't still sell pretty quickly for a few quid. Sold a set of these the other day, haven't had them sat for donkeys, and another 4 have gone out today. So I think I've got 1 book left. I had 2 of each, 3 of one. So I've got 1 single book sitting. I'm going to keep my eyes open for more. I'm guessing the Walking Dead books, 4 in the series, 4 in the set, Robert Kirkman. If they're in good nick, they're Christmas gifts, I suppose. So I'll be keeping my eyes open for any more of them over the next few weeks and see if we can get them churned out. So, where I am, not big valuable sales. £9.22 for 4 books, and that's including the postage. So it's just my kind of typical £10 sale, which is pretty much where I live. If everything sells for a tenner, I'm going to make 2 or 3 quid on it. So a couple hundred of them a day, and I'll maybe actually be able to pay my rent. That would be good. But unfortunately it's a dozen a day, and that's a good day at the moment. So 900 grams, and the Walking Dead books are going to DE74. DE7 and a 4. Right, a few to go. And the next one is another bundle of 4. David Baldacci this time. Now, his paperbacks are chunky, so they always make me nervous. If somebody buys 5, they are definitely over 2,000 grams, definitely over 2 kilos, and are going to cost me £6 to post, which is quite painful. But if they buy 4, it's usually just under. So the value of this sale was £10.65. That's including the postage. So spending £3.30 on postage out of that, £3 in fees means I've got about £3 coming back on the 4 books. If I had to be bought another book, then I'd be making about £1 selling 5. So make £3 to sell 4 or £1 to sell 5. My preference will always be the £3 for 4, but it's just one of those things. If you can make the sale, make the sale. It's cash flow, and you can always go and buy more. David Baldacci, another author. You'll see a lot of them out there. Usually there's 2 or 3. If there's one, there'll be 2 or 3, which isn't enough to make a bundle. But you'll often see 2 or 3, so just start picking them up. As ever, try and find ones that are in good condition. Don't buy tatty old paperbacks. And all of a sudden, very quickly, you'll have a big stack of David Baldacci books to sell, and that will be wonderful for you. Put them into our bag, seal it up, get a weight, which is 1/900, and they're going to P07. P07. Back the file, which is falling over, and stack back up again. Right, 2 to go, I think. Franz Kafka, Metamorphosis, £2.85 plus postage. So, classics. Any of the classics books, I just grab them when I see them, as long as they're obviously the right price. I have a few shelves worth of these, and they sell reasonably well. Again, typically they're the kind of books that people will buy just the one-off. They're not out looking for bundles of a favourite author. Although they don't typically sell for a huge amount of money, although some do, you will sell them as individual books, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. So if you're listing them for £2.85, you'll get your £2.85 plus your postage, which means you're going to make about £1 on them. Again, how much you make and everything always depends on whether or not it's a promoted listing. Unfortunately, too much seems to go out as a promoted listing, which is frustrating because it always costs an extra couple of quid to sell it. But would you sell it if you didn't promote it? I don't know. Every now and then I get annoyed giving eBay so much money, so I turn off my promoted listings, and I'll get a wee surge in sales, and then it just dies back down again. So it's kind of weird, you'll get a spike, a mini spike. It's just over large letter size, unfortunately. SE26, Francis going to. Yeah, so turn them off, you get a wee spike for a few hours, which is weird, and then the sales just drop off again. You sell less if you don't promote them. Of that I have tested, so it's definitely the case that you sell less. But profitability wise, how much money you make there's not a huge difference. I mean, I do not make a lot of money off of this. Posted a video a couple of weeks ago, you know, that's my first year kind of reselling on eBay seriously, instead of just the odd wee thing clearing out. And that was about £49,000 in sales over the year, which made me, I think it worked out about 19 grand in profit. Obviously that's what the business made. I don't actually really pay myself anywhere near that out of it, but typically profit wise I'm looking at £30 to £40 a day, which is not a lot of money, but it's reasonable for the amount of time spent on the business. But I come out of there. Put your bag out there. So yeah, £30–40 selling with promoted listings, 25 to 30 selling without, but doing about half the sales. So you do make more money per item obviously if you don't use promoted listings, but you sell a lot less. So it's just trying to decide, is it worth churning out that extra stock to make a few extra quid with a little bit more effort. 1,900 for these Val McDermott books, which are going to SK17. Yeah, so it's just deciding whether or not you would rather have a smaller turnover of product for a slightly smaller profit, or whether you want to absolutely maximise the profit and put in the wee bit extra time required to do so. I really make more money doing this, so I know I can get more stock than I'm currently picking up. There's more out there than I'm able to buy and store, because cash flow is always key. So I'll use the promoted listings, I'll use whatever I can to sell as much as possible and get that overall volume kicking out there, and hopefully one of these days actually earn a living, which would be nice. It would be nice. Anyway, that's everything packed up, that's everything done. I'm stooping, which is very bad for my back, and my hood's a mess. Keep my neck nice and warm. Like I say, that's us for today, so thanks for watching. All the usual. Love you. See you. Bye.